Is Merab Dvalishvili the fighter of the year? What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Fight Franchise and our preview and prediction of the main event of UFC 323, where Merab Dvalishvili looks to get a fourth consecutive title defense in 1 year against Petr in their rematch from a fight night a few years prior. This is a very interesting matchup, and a matchup which a lot of people are making the edits. You know, Petr's going to get the title back. Petr's going to school Merab Dvalishvili, and there are the Georgian fans, the Merab fans, who are like getting behind him because he is on a generational run now, where they are thinking to themselves, we've got one of the best fighters of all time potentially on our hands. The run that he's on is generational. You know, what he's putting together is nothing short of amazing. Gonna break down the fight and give you my prediction and my outcome of what I think I'm gonna predict for the fight. So let's jump straight into the tale of the tape for both gentlemen. Merab Dvalishvili, 21 wins, 4 losses. Petr 19 wins, 5 losses. 5'6" is Merab, 5'7" is Petr. 68-inch reach for Merab Dvalishvili, 67-inch reach for Petr. 38-inch leg reach for Merab Dvalishvili and 38-inch leg reach for Petr. So in terms of physical attributes and their frame and their size, very akin, very similar, not much difference, but the strength, the power, the athleticism, all in the favour of Merab. You say the technical skill is in the hands of Petr, but everything else is in the hands of Merab Dvalishvili. So let's go to Merab and break down how he got here. So Merab joins the UFC off the back of Dana White's Looking for a Fight series on YouTube. If you've never watched it, go back and watch some of the old episodes. There are some funny episodes where him, Dana White, and it used to be Nick the Tooth and Matt Serra, but it became Nick the Tooth and I forgot his name, Din Thomas, and they go to local MMA shows where they kind of scout new talent and see who can become the next UFC star. Merab gets found on that, and he goes on this epic win streak joins UFC. He gets this win against Rofian Stotts, and then he joins the UFC, loses 2 on the bounce to Ricky Simone and Frankie Sainz, and since then has put on a run which has put him in many people's bantamweight greatest of all time, but also now he's snuck in arguably into the top 10 greatest MMA fighters of all time, where people are saying, you know, his resume is better than Khabib's. Goes on in a brilliant win streak where Terrion Ware, Brad Katona, Casey Kenny, Gustavo Lopez, John Dodson, Cody Stamen, Marlon Moraes in an epic fight in 2021. Then he has his most controversial bout. While his friend Aljamain Sterling is the champion, he goes on to face Jose Aldo, does Merab, and he has quite a boring fight where he just holds him up against the cage. Can't take him down because Jose Aldo's takedown defense is phenomenal, and just kind of smothers him and wins a decision up against the fence. Off the back of that, faces Petr in a 5-round fight night main event where he puts on an absolute clinic and a sort of beat down on Petr, where he doesn't batter him in the sense like, trying to think of a good example, like Moicano on Neil Dariush, but just does enough over the time to wear him down and beat on Petr, where over 5 rounds, I think Merab shot for 50 takedowns in one fight. You know, shows the level of Petr's takedown defense, but still, he was just ragdolling him and throwing him around. And he done a job on Petr, which many of us never expected. We all thought Petr's, technique and skill would be too much for Merab to handle. But Merab's physicality and dominance in this division is just showing and paying dividends against all these other fighters. And then since that win against Petr, his best friend Aljamain Sterling in MMA loses his title against Sean O'Malley, where off the back of this, Merab goes, okay, now it's time for me to go for the belt, where he's put on, since 2024, a legendary win streak. Goes and dominates Henry Cejudo in a 3-round fight, where the first round is pretty shaky, where Cejudo won the first round, but the second and third round, Merab's cardio and strength and wrestling took him to the decision. Fights for the undisputed world title, where he beats Sean O'Malley via unanimous decision in the Sphere, where for the most part he just kind of held down and dominated Sean O'Malley, where Sean had 2 rounds where he had bits of moments of success, but it wasn't enough. Merab's cardio and strength and skill outdid Sean O'Malley, where in 2025, Merab's turned around and putting on a generational year. When you talk about the greatest years a fighter's had in MMA history, this could be number one. In January of 2025, earlier this year, it feels like a lifetime ago, Umar Nurmagomedov, who is one of the best fighters in the bantamweight division, heralded to be the next champion. You know, he's a Nurmagomedov, that Dagestani wrestling versus the Georgian wrestling, where they had one of the best fights of the year in a competitive 5-round bout where Umar took the first 2 rounds, but Merab's cardio, pace, strength and wrestling took over the 3rd, 4th and 5th, where he won a decision 3-2 in a very competitive and fun bout. Off the back of this, he would, in June, defend his title against Sean O'Malley in arguably one of the best performances of the year, where he made Sean O'Malley look shit. You know, Sean O'Malley is a great fighter and a lot of people hype him up. You know, he's got that touch of death when he's getting into his flow state and his striking, and he's got brilliant takedown defense and he's got great balance and great kicks. And Merab just goes, no, I'm just going to take you down, ragdoll you, throw you around and wear on you and wear on you and wear on you and batter on you. Sean had nothing in that fight, you know, and Sean, a lot of people have as a great fighter, and then got what is a rare thing for Merab since 2021. He got a finish, he got a submission in a north-south choke versus Sean O'Malley. Turns around for October, Merab does, and we think, okay, that's him done for the year. Faces Corey Sandhagen, where Corey and him have a 5-round bout, which was competitive. Corey had a great first round and Corey had moments of success in the striking, but the second round, Merab pulls it on him, lands some brilliant heavy strikes, almost has Corey out of there by TKO, but Corey survives, where Merab dominates him, where he got 3 consecutive bantamweight title defenses, matches Dominic Cruz in that aspect, but then also got a 3rd title defense this year and is going for a record-breaking 4th title defense, the only person to do it in UFC history, and he's turning around in 2 months' notice against Petr Yan. As for Petr Yan, his career has been a bit of a strange one. Joins the UFC with a lot of hype and gets some great wins, where he gets his big break in a bout versus Uriah Faber at UFC 245. That was the bout where Kamaru Usman took on, I believe, Colby Covington in a main event. Great pay-per-view that was. Uriah Faber, he head kicks him in the 3rd round. Brilliant head kick where he puts his name on the map. Off the back of that, it became the pandemic. Henry Cejudo vacated his belt because he was like, I'm going to retire and bounce. Vacant bantamweight title bout between Jose Aldo and Petr Yan, where Jose started off good, but Petr took over the fight and battered on Jose Aldo, where he won a 5th round TKO and was on a heck of a streak where many of us thought this is the guy and the future of the division. Has his first title defense against Aljamain Sterling, where they have a competitive bout in the 1st round, but Petr Yan just goes up another level and schools Aljamain Sterling, where he batters on him and eventually he's beating on him, and in the 4th round DQs himself by an illegal knee. Petr Yan loses his world title via DQ. Has a interim title bout while Aljo's getting his neck fixed and neck surgery, and faces Corey Sandhagen, where he puts on a clinic against Corey Sandhagen, where the 1st round Corey has a great round, but over the next 4 rounds Petr takes over the fight, beats on Corey Sandhagen and has some brilliant moments of success, where we're like, this is the Petr Yan that we all know and love, the skillful, the technical and the amazing fighter that he is. But faces Aljamain Sterling for undisputed gold in a unification bout where he's got the interim title, where Aljo wins a close and competitive split decision. It was razor thin and many people argue it for Petr Yan to this day, but it didn't go his way that night at UFC 273, where he turns around and faces Sean O'Malley in a competitive 3-round war at UFC 280 in Abu Dhabi, where many people thought Petr Yan won 2-1 in the 3-round fight, but Sean O'Malley won it on the judges' cards. It was very close. Sean landed some damaging knee and a shot which cut open Petr Yan, which probably swayed the judges, but Petr Yan is like, I've lost 2 on the bounce, where he, at one point, many people were arguing he's going to be one of the best bantamweights of all time, and then loses to Merab in the aforementioned bout that we mentioned on Merab's streak earlier. 3 losses on the bounce, and we were thinking to ourselves, is Petr Yan done? 2024 and 2025, he's turned his career around. He's got 3 decision wins where he's beat Song Yadong, Davison Figueiredo and Marcus McGee in 3 decisions where he's brought his confidence back up. He's become the rightful contender for the throne. And because Merab wants to turn around early, it gives Petr Yan the best opportunity for a rematch at the world title. However, how do I think this fight is going to go? It's going to be a Merab decision, and the reason being is as technical and as brilliant as Petr Yan is, and I know there is an amazing contingent of Petr Yan fans out there, he just doesn't have the X factor or finishing capability that you need to beat a Merab. I think to beat Merab, Umar Nurmagomedov has a great skill set because he has kind of grappling to upset Merab's grappling, but Merab's cardio and athleticism beat Umar. Had Umar had better cardio, he would have beat Merab potentially. But I think Merab has all the skills to drown him, plus the confidence. Merab's on a 14-fight win streak. He's 2 off tying Anderson Silva and Islam Makhachev at 16. He's 1 off Kamaru Usman at 15. He's on a generational run. His physicality and athleticism and cardio is unmatched. And when you look at Petr Yan's recent run, decision, I don't think he's got the X factor to put out and KO Merab. It's going to have to be flush. Merab's got amazing durability. You know, he gets beat on. You know, when Marlon Moraes and him fought, he got battered in that fight and survived and fought back. You know, he's had moments where guys have clipped him. Henry Cejudo clipped him and he didn't get put out. And I don't think Petr Yan has one-shot KO power. If he does, it's going to have to be a flush knee or a flush head kick to put out Merab. There is the potential for a submission, but I don't think Petr Yan has amazing submission ability. So I just think everything points to a Merab decision. He's on the generational run. He's on the amazing win streak. He's got all the favour to him. You know, he's got all the momentum on his side. There is nothing that Petr Yan really offers bar his skill set and belief that in there. There's nothing more to it, and he's already beat him, and I think this time Merab's going to make it easier. He might even finish him out there. He might even look for a submission. You know, Merab is getting better with every single fight. And when you look at the rankings in the division, he's nearly murked all of them. Umar Nurmagomedov, he's beat number 1. Sean O'Malley, number 2, he's already beat. Petr Yan, number 3, he's already beat. Number 4, Corey Sandhagen, he's already beat. You know, he's beat the top 4 and everyone outside that top 4, and he's beat number 10 Henry Cejudo. Everyone bar that, whoever he's beat has beaten them, bar Ayman Zahabi, who's not at that level yet. So there is nothing Petr Yan can do. Merab is going to have a field day. We're on a generational run, and we're seeing a fighter of a generational caliber. And the other thing is, when you look at the level of fighters, there's that famous picture of a bunch of MMA champions on stage in like 2011 or 2012, where it's Cain Velasquez, John Jones, Anderson Silva, GSP, Jose Aldo, Dominic Cruz, and Demetrius Johnson. And you would say that was like the creme de la creme of MMA. Obviously, we've had great heavyweights in certain divisions. We've had great fighters come through. But most people look at that stage picture of the generational run of MMA fighters. But when you look at some of these champions now, you go, Merab, Islam Makhachev, Ilia Topuria, Alexander Volkanovski, Alexandre Pantoja, especially from 170 below. Those guys that I've just named, those 5, are on par with those that were on that stage in 2012. This is a generational fighter in Merab, and I just think he beats Petr Yan, and then he's going to go on to beat the rest of the division next year. I think the only person who has a slight chance of beating him is Umar Nurmagomedov. I think once Alexander Volkanovski probably retires in February, you may see him go up to 145 to become a double champion and probably defend both belts in the same year consecutively, because he's got the appetite and cardio to do so. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think it's a foregone conclusion? Merab Dvalishvili will be the fighter of the year. He's going to destroy Petr Yan, or do you think Petr Yan has a chance to stop the machine, Merab Dvalishvili? And should Merab be higher in the pound for pound list? You know, in many people's pound for pound list, he's 3rd. It goes Islam and Ilia, but is Merab above Ilia? Is he above Islam Makhachev? 4 title defenses in a year against great competition. Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more MMA and fight content coming soon. We hope you enjoyed the video and we'll catch you in the next one.